Hello, Flatirons. I'm here to show you my first Ruby app, which is the CAIC forecast app. So what is CAIC? Well, CAIC stands for the Colorado Avalanche Information Center. And each day during the winter months, CAIC provides a forecast of each of these regions here in Colorado. And each of the regions are given a rating of low, moderate, considerable, high, or extreme. During the spring months, they combine these regions into three: northern mountains, central, and southern mountains. So what does the CAIC forecast CLI app do? Well, it scrapes the regions, and after scraping the regions, it will then give the user the regions, a list of regions, and they select a region, and then it will tell them what today's forecast is. So it'll tell them the date of when forecast was given, if it's moderate for today, or low, or considerable, or high, and then what the forecast is for the next day. And then it also prompts the user if they'd like to read the summary, which is kind of the overall forecast. So for the northern mountains today, Wednesday, May 8th, it's moderate, moderate. So if we jump over to central, we can see that it's considerable, considerable. And believe it or not, May 8th, it's snowing here in Denver tonight. So let's jump on in. So first thing we'll do is come here, clone, get some code. And I already have it up, so I'm going to quit out of here. We are going to relaunch this. Okay, so we're in the sandbox. So git clone, boom. So now we're cloning down the app from GitHub, as we all know how to do. We're going to cd into the directory. Okay, so I'm going to bundle, install, make sure we get all the gems to install. They have installed, so let's look at the app real quick, or we'll run through it. So we're going to do Ruby /bin/CAIC forecast. Cool, so now we're scraping. First thing it does, it scrapes, and it scrapes the web pages once. So after scraping, it then gives you a list here of which location would you like to see the today's avalanche forecast: northern mountains, central mountains, or southern mountains. Please type a number of the forecast zone or exit to exit. So I'm going to hit 1, enter. Okay, so the forecast for the northern mountains is moderate today, Wednesday, May 8th at 3:14. Forecast for tomorrow is also moderate. And it gives you, would you like to see the summary? So I'm going to say yes. Oops. Yes. So here's the summary. You know, we're on the command line. It doesn't quite format as well, but here's just a whole bunch of information. So for the purposes of scraping and grabbing that, that's what it does. Then it returns you back. So, hey, I want to see the forecast of central mountains. So I type 2. Okay, so central mountains are considerable for today, Wednesday, May 8th at 3:17 p.m. So if we look over here, CAIC, central mountains, this is the date, considerable, considerable. How does this app work? So now I'm going to say, no, I don't want to see the summary. And take me back, type exit, exit. Thanks for checking the forecast. Stay safe out there. A little goodbye. Very simple app. So let's dive into the directory and how this works. So first, we have our CLI, right? So we have our call command, which has two methods: capture data and then menu. So capture data is basically CAIC forecast class dot today's forecast. That is what captures the data. From there, we go to menu. So menu will then puts out a basic line to help differentiate in the code. And then we have a while loop, pretty self-explanatory. Until the entry is equal to exit, keep running. Asks you for the location, or which location. Then list locations. So list locations again pulls on the forecast class that all each with index runs through to give you each index. And we're going to look at the forecast file here in just a minute. And then it kind of keeps running you through this loop until you type exit. So let's look at forecast. So this is where all the stuff gets done here. So we have self.today's forecast. So this is what does the scraping, and what it will do is it will call on other methods, self.in northern mountains, central mountains, southern mountains. So it will call on these other methods and then load them into this empty array, and then at the end of calling this, it will return all the objects. So in addition, we have the all I guess variable, which gets loaded with each forecast object down here. So let's look at what one of these guys looks like, one of these class methods. So first, we have doc, setting that equal to Nokogiri HTML open. So this right here is a little bit of a challenge when doing the original scraping, because this is the page here that everyone comes to. This is what the end user sees. Well, after scraping and a little trial and error, it took a little while to figure out that, hey, lo and behold, this has an iframe in it, as shown here. So it's making it a lot more difficult to get down into the data, which most of what we're scraping is down in this portion of the code. So in order to do that, we kind of dove one more and actually went directly to this iframe address, which we can see here as being just what we want. And this is what made it a lot cleaner and a lot easier to scrape, because it doesn't have any of the menus, any of the Java, tracking links that they've put in there. So once we got to this page, it made it a lot easier to scrape. You can see here, we grab our page title. So each forecast, we create a new forecast object. Then each forecast has a location, a date, an F today or forecast today, an F tomorrow, forecast tomorrow, and a summary. So for the location, H1 page title, that's going to be Northern Mountains. The date, so we want to know when was this forecast given. So that is going to be right here, when it was issued. We could probably have gone one last step further and be like name and see, oh, this is done by Spencer Logan. So from there, we get our forecast today. So we scrape down. So this is getting our moderate for today. Then for tomorrow, getting the text here, moderate also is what this one happens to be, but it could be low, moderate, high, extreme. And then the summary, which is div.blurb piece. So that's that whole paragraph, which doesn't come out well in command line. So there, once we have this, then we load the forecast object into the all variable, instance variable, or class variable, I'm sorry. And that right here is what we're doing once. So when this runs, we're storing everything in that instance variable. So we're only scraping these pages once, no matter how many times you manipulate up and down through the program. Some added features we could build in is a refresh button. Maybe your app is always running and you want to refresh it, say the next day if you don't close out. Well, we could build in where we clear that all and then again call on to get today's forecast, and boom, we'll re-scrape the pages. So that's pretty much it. And then once the user enters a location, I call it a zone. So self.forecast from selection, you put in your zone number, and we set this variable zone in I call it zone input, right? Which is equal to all, and then zone, which will come through as a string. So if I put 1 in, it's going to be 1 in quotes. So we want to convert that to an integer. And then since we're looking at an array index, we need to subtract 1 from that. So if I hit 1 for Northern Mountains, well, that's going to be the first object in the array. So it's going to have a index of 0. So then we get, okay, we want the forecast object in all 0. So now we can then come down and call on that object zoni.location. So the forecast for the Northern Mountains is zone1.f today. So forecast for today, so moderate, and then date. So that gives you the date of when this was given. And then we have a second line that says for tomorrow, zone I.f tomorrow. And then we give the good old question, would you like to read the forecast summary? And then easy gets.chomp. If selection is equal to y for yes, then we put out this in and then give them the message of thanks for checking the forecast today. And then this will then come back to CLI and back into this loop, reprint the list, and the user can either go back over, check on the forecast for other zones, or type exit. And then when they type exit, we get this little goodbye. I look forward to explaining this in the evaluation. Hopefully we're meeting all the requirements. It's very simple, but yet important app that could eventually be used for people to say download this information before they go and then read it at a later date. So thank you, Flatirons.